I met Robert in 5th grade. I was in Mrs. Brajovich's class, and on the first day of school she said, you better not call me Mrs. Brajovich. We knew we were in the cool class. So I was in the cool class with my cool friend Scott. Scott was my best friend. At my house we called him the user. Whoever was getting a jacuzzi that summer, Scott would suddenly be friends with him. And whoever was going to Mammoth that winter in September, suddenly they'd be hanging out with our crew. Anyways, I was student body president of my elementary school. Scott was my friend there in Mrs. Brajovich's class, and so was Robert. And Scott was suddenly friends with Robert. And Robert was just a little ahead of us. He had gone through puberty, and he was overweight, he was fat, and he had freckles and braces, and he had shirts that were slightly too baggy, and his jeans were just a little too big, and the knees were always dirty, and they were hanging at the heels, and his shoes always were white, and we had black high tops. Anyways, we play a lot, and when we play, Robert was always it. Robert was always it, because Robert was slow. And so he'd fall out of the tree, or he'd fall off my wrought iron fence, and I'd take him into my backyard, and when he was in my backyard, we'd play more, and then I'd have to take him to the bathroom, and then I'd spray Bactine on his knees because he'd be crying. And I'd be like, Robert, just, fuck, get it together. And other things. Anyway, so it was Valentine's Day 15 years ago, and I was in 5th grade, and I was just cutting out hearts, getting ready my shoebox. I was getting my shoebox ready to put Valentine's in, and I was focused. But I kept hearing, so I looked over my shoulder, and Robert was sitting on the teacher's pedestal, but the teacher had left, and I was like, anyways, so I kept cutting out my hearts, and then I heard those sounds again. So when I looked over, I noticed that people were throwing scissors at Robert, but it wasn't just people, it was actually the entire class. And I actually can't remember if I was throwing scissors at Robert as well, but I don't think that I was. Anyways, at a moment's notice, the teacher walked in, and everything went silent. And I just remember the desk being about this close to my face. And it was just quiet for a really long time. Anyways, I went outside, and when I went outside, I happened to be last that day, and I was never last. I was pretty much always first. And it was raining, and it was one of those awesome rainy days in California. And I was walking out, and I was a little shook up at what had happened, but my teacher grabbed me by the neck, and she said, hey. And then she released her hand and said, what happened? And I said, everything I just told you that happened. And then she just leaned forward, and she just said to me, you could have made that different. Seventh grade, I was studying Confucius in history class, and Robert walked in the door, and he sat right next to me, but he didn't say anything. And I was a little confused and scared and upset, and I was thinking a whole bunch of things, but he just didn't say anything. Anyways, over the course of a couple of weeks, Robert just somehow got more quiet from being quiet. Except one time he lifted up his sleeve, and he had scraped hate me into his arm so deep that the wounds kept opening up and they kept bleeding. I remember that. And then I remember the teacher one day just asking him, Robert, I need you to just do something. And instead he just got up and he put his arm around her neck and he just said, fuck you, you bitch, I want to kill you. She grabbed the phone with the other hand and she called security. By that time he already packed his bags and I just saw someone lift him up by the window, take him away. And so I didn't see Robert for 5 more years after that. One last time, I was done surfing actually with the same friends. My senior of high school, Scott, Ryan, Michael, Yuji, and we went to Wiener Schnitzel to get a couple hot dogs. And Ryan was there, and he was working the cash register. Not Ryan, Robert was there, working the cash register. And I remember feeling either really excited or really petrified. And we did the cordial, like, hey man, what's up, how you been, what have you been up to? He was like, I'm fine, things are good. And I felt relieved that I saw him there. And then we went and sat down, we continued having our hot dogs, and then for some reason, I went back every single day for the next year to Wiener Schnitzel, hoping that I'd see Robert, but I actually never saw him again. And I just wonder how Robert remembers 5th grade. I wonder how Robert remembers Valentine's Day. I wonder if Robert remembers me.